Welcome to Real English Voices. I'm Tom.
And I'm Ria. Hey, Tom, you know what's funny? I was talking to one of our listeners yesterday, and she told me she's been learning English for 5 years, but she still gets confused about when to use the present perfect tense.
5 years? Wow, that's dedication. But honestly, Ria, I totally get why she's confused. The present perfect is probably one of the most misunderstood tenses in English. Even advanced learners struggle with it because it doesn't exist in many languages the same way it does in English.
Exactly. And you know what makes it worse? Teachers often just say things like, use present perfect for actions that happened in the past but are connected to the present. Like, what does that even mean in real life?
Right? That's so vague. I remember when I was teaching in Brazil, my students would look at me like I was speaking another language entirely when I tried to explain it that way. So today, we're going to break this down in a way that actually makes sense. We'll use real examples, tell some stories, and by the end of this conversation, you'll know exactly when to use present perfect and when to stick with simple past.
Yes. And honestly, once you understand the logic behind it, it becomes so much easier. It's like a light bulb moment. So, Tom, let's start with the basics. What exactly is the present perfect tense?
Okay, so the present perfect is formed with have or has plus the past participle of a verb. For example, I have eaten, she has traveled, they have finished. Now here's where people get confused. They think, oh, it has the word have in it, so it must be present tense. But then they see the past participle and think, wait, is it past tense? The truth is, it's kind of both.
Kind of both. I love that explanation. It's like a bridge between the past and the present. The action happened in the past, but there's still some connection to now, to this moment we're living in.
Exactly. That connection is the key. Let me give you an example. If I say, I ate breakfast, that's simple past. It's just a fact about the past. It happened, it's done, it's over. But if I say, I have eaten breakfast, there's an implication that it's relevant right now. Maybe you're asking me if I want to go get food, and I'm letting you know I'm not hungry because I've already eaten.
Oh, that's such a good example. So the present perfect answers the question of whether something has been completed or experienced, especially when the exact time doesn't matter or isn't specified.
Yes, the exact time is a huge clue. With simple past, we often use time expressions like yesterday, last week, in 2020, when I was a child. Those are specific moments in the past that are finished. But with present perfect, we use words like ever, never, already, yet, recently, lately, so far. These words don't point to a specific time.
Okay, so let me test this. If I say, I have visited Paris, I'm not saying when. I'm just saying it's an experience I've had in my life. But if I say, I visited Paris in 2019, now I'm giving you the specific time, so I use simple past.
Perfect. You nailed it, Ria. And here's something interesting. If someone says to you, have you ever been to Paris? And you answer, yes, I have. That's present perfect because you're talking about life experience. But the moment you add details about when, you switch to simple past. Yes, I have. I went there in 2019. It was amazing.
Oh, wow. So you can actually switch between them in the same conversation, depending on whether you're talking about the experience generally or the specific time it happened.
Exactly. And this happens all the time in natural conversation. Let me give you another example. Imagine we're chatting and I ask you, have you seen the new Avengers movie? You might say, yes, I've seen it. That's present perfect. Then I ask, when did you see it? And you say, I saw it last Friday. That's simple past.
I love how you're showing this with real dialogue because that's exactly how we talk. This makes so much more sense than those boring grammar textbook explanations.
Thanks. I think the problem with textbooks is they try to make everything so formal and structured. But language is alive. It's messy and beautiful, and sometimes it doesn't follow the rules we think it should. That's why we need to understand the feeling behind the tenses, not just the rules.
The feeling behind the tenses. I really like that phrase, Tom. So what's the feeling of present perfect?
Great question. The feeling is connection. It's about linking the past to the present moment. It's about saying, this matters now. Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I lost my wallet. When I was telling my friend about it right after it happened, I said, I've lost my wallet. That present perfect showed that the situation was still affecting me in that moment. I was still stressed, still looking for it.
Right, because at that moment, the wallet was still lost. The action of losing it was in the past, but the result, the being without a wallet, was still your present reality.
Exactly. But then, a few days later, after I had found it, if someone asked me about it, I would say, I lost my wallet last week, but I found it. Now it's simple past because it's a completed event that's no longer affecting my present situation.
That's such a clear example. So the present perfect is really useful when we're talking about the results or effects of past actions that are still relevant now.
Yes, let's look at more examples of this. She has broken her arm. That means her arm is still broken right now. She broke her arm just tells us it happened, but we don't know if it's still broken or if it healed already.
Okay, I'm getting this. What about the train has arrived versus the train arrived?
Perfect example. The train has arrived means it's here now. You can see it at the platform. It's relevant to this moment. The train arrived is just stating a fact about the past. Maybe you're telling someone a story about your journey yesterday.
This is making so much sense. But Tom, I know our listeners are probably thinking about another tricky situation. What about actions that started in the past and are still continuing now? I've heard present perfect is used for that too.
Oh, yes, this is another major use of present perfect, and it confuses so many people. When we want to say that something started in the past and is still happening or still true now, we use present perfect with for or since. For example, I have lived in Tokyo for 3 years.
And that means you still live in Tokyo now, right? You moved there 3 years ago and you're still there.
Exactly. But if I said I lived in Tokyo for 3 years with simple past, that would mean I don't live there anymore. It was a period of my life that's finished. The tense totally changes the meaning.
Wow, that's such an important difference. So, for is used with a period of time, like for 3 years, for 2 months, for a long time. What about since?
Since is used with a specific point in time when something started. I have lived here since 2020. She has worked at that company since January. We've been friends since childhood. The action started at that point and continues until now.
Okay, let me make sure I understand this. I have known her for 10 years, means we met 10 years ago and we still know each other now. I have known her since 2015 means the same thing, but I'm giving the specific year we met instead of the duration.
Perfect. And here's something really important. With these continuing situations, you cannot use simple past. If you say, I knew her for 10 years, it sounds like you don't know her anymore. Maybe she passed away, or maybe you lost touch. The relationship is finished.
That's so crucial to understand. The tense actually tells us whether something is still happening or not. Language is so powerful, isn't it?
It really is. And you know what else is interesting? Different varieties of English sometimes use these tenses differently. In American English, people often use simple past in situations where British English would use present perfect.
Oh, really? Can you give us an example?
Sure. An American might say, I just ate lunch, while a British person would say, I've just eaten lunch. Both are correct in their respective varieties of English. Or an American might say, did you do your homework yet? While a British person would say, have you done your homework yet?
That's fascinating. So our listeners shouldn't worry too much if they hear different versions from different speakers?
Exactly. The most important thing is to be consistent with one style and to understand what you're hearing. And honestly, with present perfect, even native speakers sometimes use it differently depending on their region or personal style.
Tom, let's talk about another common mistake I hear all the time. People use present perfect with specific time expressions that should actually take simple past.
Oh, yes, this is huge. You cannot say, I have eaten breakfast this morning, if the morning is finished. You can only use present perfect with this morning if it's still morning when you're speaking. Once the time period is over, it becomes simple past.
So if it's 2 p.m. and I'm talking about breakfast, I have to say I ate breakfast this morning because the morning is finished. But if it's 10 a.m. and I'm talking about breakfast I had at 8 a.m., I can say I've eaten breakfast this morning because we're still in my morning time period.
Yes, you're getting really good at this, Ria. The same goes for today, this week, this year. These time periods are only compatible with present perfect if they're not finished yet. I have seen 3 movies this week works if the week isn't over, but I saw 3 movies last week use a simple past because that time period is complete.
This is such a practical tip. So the question is always, is this time period still ongoing or is it finished? If it's finished, use simple past. If it's still ongoing, you can use present perfect.
Exactly. Let's do a quick practice. What if I say, I've read 2 books this year? What does that tell you?
It tells me that the year isn't over yet, and you might read more books before it ends. You're counting your reading for the year so far.
Perfect. And if I say, I read 2 books last year, that's just a fact about a completed time period.
I love how logical this becomes once you understand the thinking behind it. Tom, what about using present perfect for repeated actions? I've heard it's used that way too.
Great question. Yes, we use present perfect for actions that happened multiple times in an unspecified period up to now. I have visited New York 3 times. She has called me several times this week. We've watched that movie twice already.
And again, we're not saying exactly when each visit or call or viewing happened. We're just giving the total number of times it's happened in our life or in a recent period.
Exactly. But the moment you specify when, you switch to simple past. I visited New York 3 times last year. She called me twice yesterday. See the difference?
Yes, this pattern is really becoming clear. Simple past is for specific, finished times. Present perfect is for unspecified times or times that aren't finished yet, and it shows relevance to now.
You've got it. Now, let's talk about a really emotional use of present perfect. We often use it to talk about experiences that have shaped who we are. I have traveled to 50 countries. He has overcome so many challenges. They have achieved their dreams. There's a sense of pride, of accomplishment, of these experiences being part of your identity now.
Oh, I love that. It's not just about grammar, it's about how we see ourselves and our life journey. When I say I have learned so much, I'm not just talking about the past. I'm saying that learning is part of who I am now. It has made me the person I am today.
Beautifully said, Ria. That's the heart of present perfect. It connects our past experiences to our present selves. And this is why it's so important for storytelling and sharing our lives with others.
Tom, I want to ask you something. A lot of our listeners struggle with irregular past participles, like eat, ate, eaten, or go, went, gone. Do you have any tips for learning these?
Oh man, irregular past participles are tough. There's no magic trick because you really just have to memorize them. But here's what helped me when I was learning other languages. Group them by pattern. Some past participles end in en, like eaten, spoken, taken, broken. Some end in n, like shown, known, grown. Some are the same as the simple past, like bought, brought, thought. Some are the same as the base form, like cut, put, hurt.
That's smart. Finding patterns makes it easier than trying to memorize a random list of hundreds of words.
And practice them in sentences, not in isolation. Don't just memorize go, went, gone. Use them. I have gone to the store. She has gone home. They have gone already. The more you use them in context, the more natural they become.
That's excellent advice. And honestly, even if you make a mistake with an irregular verb, native speakers will usually understand you. The most important thing is trying to communicate.
Absolutely. I've made so many mistakes learning Spanish and Portuguese, and people are always patient and helpful. Making mistakes is part of learning. You shouldn't let fear of mistakes stop you from speaking.
So true. Now, Tom, let's talk about the negative form of present perfect, because I think that confuses people too.
Good point. The negative is formed with have not or has not, which we usually contract to haven't or hasn't. I haven't seen that movie. She hasn't called me yet. They haven't finished their homework.
And yet is a really common word with present perfect negatives, right? It means something hasn't happened, but we expect it to happen.
Yes, yet is used in questions and negatives. Have you finished yet? I haven't finished yet. It implies that the action is expected or anticipated. Whereas if I just say, I haven't finished, without yet, it's more neutral.
What about already? I hear that with present perfect a lot too.
Already is used in positive sentences and sometimes in questions to express that something happened sooner than expected. I've already eaten. She's already left. Have you already finished? There's often a sense of surprise or emphasis.
So if I say, I've already told you 3 times, I'm emphasizing that I told you multiple times, and maybe I'm a bit frustrated that you're asking again.
Exactly. You can hear the emotion in that sentence, right? That's what I love about language. It's not just about facts. It's about feelings and relationships and all the nuances of being human.
Tom, we've covered so much, but I want to make sure our listeners know how to use this in their daily lives. Can we go through some really common present perfect sentences that English speakers use all the time?
Great idea. Let's do it. I've been busy lately. This is something everyone says. You're talking about recent time up until now.
Have you ever tried sushi? That's asking about life experience, not a specific time.
I've never seen anything like this. Strong emotion. Talking about all your experiences up to this moment.
She's gone to the doctor. She went and she's still there, or she just left. The result is that she's not here now.
They've known each other for years. The friendship started in the past and continues now.
I've just heard the news. Something happened very recently, and you're reacting to it now.
We've already discussed this. You're referring back to a conversation that happened before, and it's relevant to the current discussion.
Have you done your homework? Asking if a task is completed, the time doesn't matter, just the result.
He hasn't arrived yet. We're expecting him, but he's not here. The action hasn't happened, but we think it will.
These are such useful examples. I hope our listeners are writing these down or making note of them.
Yes, and practice them. Use them in your own life. When you wake up in the morning, think, I've just woken up. When you finish your coffee, think, I've finished my coffee. When you're waiting for a friend, think, she hasn't arrived yet. Make it part of your internal dialogue.
That's such good advice, Tom. Thinking in English is one of the best ways to improve. And using present perfect in your thoughts will make it feel more natural when you speak.
Absolutely. You know, Ria, one thing I want to emphasize to our listeners is that mastering present perfect takes time. It's not something you'll understand perfectly after one lesson or even 1 month. It's something that clicks gradually as you encounter it more and more in real situations.
That's so important to remember. Language learning isn't linear. Sometimes you'll feel like you understand something completely, and then you'll encounter it in a new context and feel confused again. That's totally normal and part of the process.
Exactly. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate your progress. If you can use present perfect correctly even 50% of the time, that's already amazing. Native speakers won't judge you for making mistakes. What matters is that you're communicating and making connections with people.
And honestly, the fact that you're listening to this podcast right now shows that you're committed to improving. You're taking the time to learn, to understand, to practice. That's something to be proud of.
I couldn't agree more. You know what, Ria? I think we should end with some encouragement for our listeners. Learning English is a journey, and the present perfect tense is just one stop along the way. Some days will be easier than others. Some days you'll feel fluent and confident. Other days you'll struggle to form a simple sentence, and all of that is okay.
Yes, the important thing is that you keep going. You keep learning, keep practicing, keep making mistakes and learning from them. Every conversation you have in English, every podcast you listen to, every sentence you speak, you're getting better. You're growing.
And remember, language is about connection. It's about sharing your ideas, your feelings, your experiences with other people. Don't get so caught up in perfect grammar that you forget to actually communicate. Use present perfect when it feels right. Use simple past when it feels right. And if you mix them up sometimes, that's fine. People will understand you.
Beautifully said, Tom. I think we've given our listeners a really solid foundation for understanding present perfect. We've talked about how it connects the past to the present, how it's used for life experiences, for actions that continue from the past until now, for recent actions with present results, and so much more.
We have, and I hope everyone listening feels more confident now. The next time you hear someone use present perfect, pay attention to why they chose that tense. The next time you want to talk about an experience or something that happened recently, try using present perfect. Practice makes progress.
And we want to hear from you. Tell us about your experiences learning English. What has been the hardest part for you? What have you achieved so far? Use the present perfect in your answers and share with us. We love hearing from our listeners.
Yes, please reach out to us. Your stories inspire us and remind us why we do this. Every person learning English has their own journey, their own reasons, their own challenges and victories, and we're here to support you through it all.
So keep learning, keep practicing, keep believing in yourself. You have made so much progress already, even if you don't always see it, and you will continue to improve every single day.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Real English Voices. We'll be back soon with another episode to help you on your English learning journey.
Until then, keep speaking, keep listening, keep learning. You've got this.
We believe in you. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.